Albert Einstein once said, "If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician." I often think in music, I live my daydreams in music, I see my life in terms of music. Music and life are inseparable. Music is the source of life. It feeds and heals our soul and makes us better people. Music teaches us about life. It preserves histories and memories, reflects our culture, and defines who we are as a civilization. Music impacts life. The study of music will lead you to discover who you really are. Music is life. I'm Dr. Peng, Director of the Institute of Music. Welcome to UCSI University and welcome to our IMUS family.
You memorize.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to UCSI. We are extremely privileged to have Mr. Chong Lim as our artist in residence for this couple of weeks with us, sharing his wisdom through a series of different activities, including workshops, masterclasses, forums, and performances as well. And this afternoon, we have in store for you a forum. Since it's a forum, actually, so we make it a little bit more casual, shall we, actually? And we would definitely leave some time at the end of the session for some Q&A as well, if Chong Lim, you're up for it.
Sure.
Okay, so let's just plunge right into it. I'm sure that many people have many questions. When it comes to practitioners, well-established practitioners of any industries, I guess people are always curious as to how did all of these begin? So Chong Lim, would you care to share with us when did you begin your musical journey?
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, it's going to be quite a long story, but I will cut it short. Um, I I grew up in a small town in Seremban, and that time, as we all know that not much music activities or anything, but I don't even have a TV at home. So, but I have a very old piano that my sister played. So I started by playing piano, or just not playing, just really like just having fun with the keys. And I think I'm the first batch of, if you all know Yamaha was here for some time. Yamaha, I was joining the little children course like 4 years old, JMC. I'm not sure whether you all know about that, but I'm the first class in Seremban. Just now I was joking with Chishan about my teacher. She's a wonderful teacher. Her name is Miss Chong. I still remember. Now she married and migrated to Ireland. I mean, next to England. And she was joking she was one of the greatest, the pioneer teacher who trained all the Malaysian Yamaha teachers for JMC, all the Yamaha courses. So she came when I was at college many years later. She said to me, as a joke, also kind of very encouraging, she said to me that if Chong Lim can get into a good school, like Royal College, to study with scholarship, all Malaysian kids has hope. Because I was really a terrible student. I remember my graduation in the JMC course, I can't play a note, I can't sing a song. I can only play triangle to graduate. So that was quite funny. And then she told me that, but actually I don't remember. Of course, I don't remember much, but I remember there's one photo that I have. It's just I'm playing a triangle in the graduation with the Yamaha something, a medal or something. So that's the story. Actually, I'm not a very talented person at all, but I think I work quite hard. So just to share this funny story with you, because I was just joking with him, because he was asking me, how do I start a course? Because I'm not like most the children here, they started with with all this amazing results. I don't, yeah. But this is what I want to share. But after that, I continue, of course, piano lessons until I get more serious when I'm a teenager, and I start to feel like I want to compose, I want to practice piano more, and go into more seriousness into music, and yeah.
So it seems like the formula to building a great musician is no TV, no technology,
no technology
with
yes.
music instruments. And so Chong Lim, at what point, he's very humble by saying that he's not talented. Okay, we all know that it's not completely true. So I think it takes, after teaching for quite a few years, I think sometimes talent takes a little bit of digging sometimes. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, this time, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, some children just shows all the flexibility and all the musicality, from young age.
Yes.
But some take longer time. Maybe they're too shy, or they're too, maybe just not open yet. I find some of them, you see potential, but they are not, yeah.
Yeah, rough around the edges. I guess so. It takes definitely a special someone to really see through all the minerals and everything to get to the core that is a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
At what point,
Yeah.
Chong Lim, did you decide to pursue music as a career? Mm-hmm. Was it someone particularly influential that steer you towards this direction and made you to the person that you are today, the musician in particular that you are today?
I think I have strong passion and love for music for sure from young age. No TV for sure, because You know, I have nothing to do except
Again,
you know,
no TV. You know,
just,
that's the second time Chong has mentioned that.
technology. I would, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I'm a bit more serious now. I felt, I still remember my first cassette. I'm not sure whether you all know, young people, it's all CD of Spotify or YouTube, but my time cassette, you know, it's a very strange thing. Yeah. So I couldn't, the first time I experienced classical music or classical, like I'm a classical musician now, it's because I get those cassettes from a very small shop in Seremban, one of the mall, and I found that I'm very lucky. I still remember what are there because I have one of them is Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto by Guy Liao's, great pianist. I'm so lucky. But at that time, I don't know who's Guy Liao for sure. I don't know who's Tchaikovsky as well. The next cassette is a piano solo recital by Horowitz, and then another blessing because they are the two great Russian pianists. And I still remember what I bought, and I just fascinated, even though I don't understand anything about. I still remember. Now I remember is this Wagner list, Liebestod, the transcription, and now I remember. But at that time, I don't know what are they. I just listened. Wow, nice. Wow, range of sound. Wow, you can play piano like this. And Tchaikovsky, of course, the famous piece, grand, romantic. So those are the recordings that inspired me. And I play piano, of course, the normal exam, you know, like ABR7 exam. But I'm not so. That time I'm not so like involved. I mean, like not so put in so much effort because. But after listening to that and remember first concert in UM, an orchestra came from. I was 12, means like 37 years ago. Okay, 37 years ago in UM. Seoul Symphony came to UM to perform. I still remember the repertoire. I have quite good memory. Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto and the violinist Dung So Kang. And the symphony is, the second half was the Dvorak. So I was very inspired. My father drove all the way from Seremban to KL, to UM. So took me there and he slept all the way. I remember he was snoring. But I was like an eye-opener to me. So it inspired me want to do classical music. And we don't have concerts in Seremban, classical music. We just go for exam, some Yamaha concerts, but not really classical music. But deep down, I always have that sound. I like the orchestral sound. I want to hear more. Impossible to get more recording. Impossible to get even books to read about who is Tchaikovsky. I know a little bit because from my teacher will explain to me about history, but I myself, again, we have no computer, no internet, no information at all. So I was from that small town. You can imagine, it's very different than your time now, yeah? So I was very inspired by those concerts. So I think from that onwards, I always want to do classical music, but at the same time, I was very involved with Yamaha activities. So mostly are the more children courses and a bit of jazz music, a bit of this Latin music. It's more like the electone, the electronic music. But deep down, I want to do classical, but I don't know why. Then I have a chance more. Then of course, like you all, I go for all the diploma exam, like Trinity exam, ABRS exam, until I'm much older. But I think by 14, 15, I decided I want to be a musician. But I don't know what can I do at that time because not much information. So my first dream is actually a composer. But I'm lucky enough and also strange enough, I get scholarship for piano performance, for which I don't practice so much before I get the scholarship. So I get to go to London and then say, okay, I better practice my piano now. So it's not so much competition. So I just take the scholarship to study piano for many years, about 5 years in London. Then I moved on to Graz, Austria, studied with this teacher for another year. And suddenly I have this urge and also a bit of luck. And this composer, my composition teacher, whom I met in Graz. So I just asked him, do you think I can be your student? I said, yeah, you can. You have to pass the audition. So I did the audition, I passed. So at the end, I studied with him another 2 years. Yeah.
So Chong Lim, you did mention that you were sort of a late bloomer, right? You
Oh,
did the
very late.
Yamaha course actually, and you graduated with playing triangle. Can you imagine that right now? Do you remember actually at what point did you start to get it? Because you said you couldn't play a note, you couldn't sing, you were playing the triangle. At what point did all of that change, or this? Is there a particular occasion? Is there a particular person that caused that change?
I think possible my teacher. I'm not sure if you all know Miss Lai. She passed away 2 years ago. Last year, sorry, not 2 years ago. Last year, yeah. She's one of the teacher that very kind, also very strict. I get slapped before, yeah. But we don't do that now. Yesterday, don't worry, yeah. But she's very kind. She's very wonderful teacher. She gave me all the very good foundation hearing, like soulfish singing after, all the basic thing, and very encouraging. And also, of course, I was in the Yamaha course that time. It's a kind of very prestigious thing that if you are selected, your composition will be selected to perform in Japan. So I was selected twice to Japan when I was 14 and 16. So that's how I get my first travel to, first time on flight, and then to Japan because of this. So I composed two very childish pieces. So actually, if I think of it, it's quite, no way. Yeah,
we all have those cringy moments actually when we are growing up.
Yeah. So, but that's I think also one of the biggest motivations. So I met different musicians from all over the world, and it's actually a very wonderful thing that this kind of event, but that's just a starting point. A starting point that to trigger, the interest.
Right. I don't mean to pry. Actually, I do mean to pry. I mean, I guess it's not always easy to answer the question, actually, when you are asked, actually, why did you choose to do music, right? That's not always an easy. Some people have very clear answers about that. And even when you said, you knew that you wanted to do music, but you don't really know why at that time.
Yeah.
In hindsight, right now, as an established performer, composer, pianist, do you know why, actually, as to what made you want to do music right now? I mean, back then.
This is very personal, but I think everyone's the same. If we do music because we love it, and then also it's part of our life. And I remember I told one time I was in the interview, and someone asked me, how do you feel as a musician? I just said something very strange, just come up to my mind. I just say I treat music as my love and hobbies, and use hobby to earn a living, and I think I'm very blessed. That's all.
No, that's great. Yeah.
This is a hobby, and something that I like to do, something that I want to do the rest of my life, and I can use that as also as a living, a simple living.
I have me myself actually. I have the similar thoughts as well. I love doing this so much, and if I can make a living doing what I love to do, wouldn't that be ideal?
Yes.
Right. So. Yeah, actually, so there are so many things that I can, tag along that questions actually.
Right.
But let's move on to another questions actually. And I think a lot of us right now, whether you are getting ready to get into college or those of our students right here currently pursuing a degree in music, right? I think we are all curious as to what are some of the prospects of building a musical career in Malaysia. And if we were to do that, if we really want to do that, how can we prepare ourselves for that?
Of course, I'm not the one that to know all the prospect here, because their music has so many directions, like some of them like classical musicians or teaching or into contempt, like some of the like that you have gigs, you have all the concerts, or even commercial music or writing for jingles and all this. But I mean, I'm not familiar with everything because I'm mostly a classical musician. But I feel that as a classical musicians, I think we, a lot of the time I heard students say that we wish that we were trained younger and we have more foundation, we have better. So I always say to the students and say, we cannot, of course, I wish that the things here, the level, from every, from not here, I mean, in general, in Malaysia, that's my wish that I come back here, that I can try to make things happen a bit more, happening. So, because I think our education for music, it can raise more compared to, like a lot of countries here in Malaysia, not in South Asia, is already coming up a lot. Like recently I judged some competition, international competition, and I feel that, oh, wow, Thailand, or Vietnam. Of course, we don't have to talk about Korea or those others already, up there, like, So, but I really wish that will happen here. So, like, prospect means like we need more professional people and really people with more passion or, for education from any level, from the, like young, like, maybe like between 12 or 6 to 12 or university after that, or teenagers. So, and with those training, with good environment, I think, it's easier for all of us. Like now, when I talk about concerts for classical musicians, it's almost so rare. Especially, I mean, I'm not talking about pandemic now. Of course, impossible. But before that, it's also very hard to get a chance to perform in this country. Yes, we have wonderful MPO. We have, NSO and some. But I feel that as a classical musician here, like I'm a bit lucky that I get the chance not just doing work in Malaysia, but I have other chances to travel to this region, Southeast Asia, or sometimes Asia, sometimes even other places further away, like Europe or America. So we have to survive as a classical musician in this country is just to performing is not possible. But teaching, yes, teaching, we have so many opportunities, like like schools or university, or even accompanists. Like if you are very good sight reader, you can accompany many people. You can earn a living with that. So I think at the end of the day, we choose a job that we can also earn a living. So yesterday I talked about the workshop assessment, that to know yourself well, and we have to be realistic. We have to have the passion of learning or to enjoy music and love the music, but we also have to live. So that's something that I always advise my students. Don't just, no, I just say, please be more realistic with your life. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, we are definitely very blessed to have someone, teachers of high caliber that are willing to come back to contribute to the music industry, as this is absolutely crucial. I think, not just, I think a lot of us here, even up to today, still have the mindset to make it and leave and never come back. But if nobody is sowing the ground, then forget about the harvest. And I guess from what you mentioned just now, Chong Lim, it really boils down to awareness, the whole, of the whole community, actually, not just the person, not just, individual parents. We often hear the saying, it takes a whole community to build a musician. Wouldn't you agree with that?
The environment, the whole community.
Yes, the whole environment. Yeah. So it really boils down to awareness as well as the upbringing.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say. So I hope, students here definitely aim for the stars. And once you become a star, do remember to come back actually to this land that, enrich
serve.
you and make
And
you,
serve
and
the
make
country.
you shine.
Serve
Actually,
the-
you know,
yeah.
I think it's important for a musician actually to have a sense actually to contribute
Yeah,
to the
to give
community
back. Yeah,
and to society as well. I believe that music is actually a necessity, not a luxury.
yeah,
Can any of us here imagine life completely silent without music? Not silent, but completely musicless. Even TV, jingles, whatnot. Think of even movies, Star Wars or Jurassic Park without John Williams' music would
impossible.
be a completely different thing,
Yeah.
right? So I guess that ties into the next question that I have for you. So in your opinion, Chong Lim, how do you think a musician can contribute to the society? Not just the music industry, obviously, but contribute to the society as a whole.
I think music has the power, to influence emotionally, culturally, to the society. I mean, to people, because I believe that I believe music education should be in all school, not just music school, but in all school or any art form. The reason is, not everyone learning art, music or dance or paint or whatever to be professional, but because of this training, it gives us a lot of, especially from young age, you need to, if you learn it seriously, you learn a lot of good qualities like, stay focused, be patient, perseverance, discipline, sensitivity, listening to each other. I mean, yourself, and you have all this, so many qualities. I can name a lot, but those are the qualities that we need for the young, for the youth, and then I think for sure we have a better generation if everyone has that kind of quality. I mean, I'm not saying that music is the one, yeah, but I think those qualities will help to shape the new generation. And to me, so I believe in that. Maybe I'm a little bit idealistic, but and when you say serve, as I myself as a musician, just now you were talking about giving back or contributing. I think of a few examples that I'm not sure all of you have heard about. One of the greatest, this El Sistema in Venezuela. Have any of you heard before? El Sistema. Yeah, it's an organization, non-profit organization, started with
Dudamel. Right?
Dudamel, yes, yeah. Dudamel is from it's like those street children, underprivileged, poverty. So this teacher has the mind of Jose. I think I don't know how to read his Venezuelan name, but he started this project with the local, the community orchestra, to make sure those young teenager or children not do drugs or fighting, or because they are in such conditions. So make all of them play an instrument. So they start orchestra everywhere. So it started. Now I think they have more than 70,000 children come out from there. And you can imagine, not everyone going to be professional, but one of the greatest conductors now, Dudamel, is conducting Berlin Philharmonic everywhere. He's one of the kids from there. And some of the musicians become Berlin Philharmonic double bass player or even Philadelphia in America. So those are the one. That is something like a project which inspired me a lot. And we have it here in Malaysia too, in Sabah, for natives. It's JPO. And I just talked to one student yesterday, coincidence that I know that the student's teacher, the husband and wife, is also in this project. So I'm not part of, I'm part of it, small project, because I have other, I'm good friends of them, so I'm also helping when I can. And another experience that I have, another one is something like El Sistema, but it's similar in Philippines, also for street children, for the poor children. And it's called Ang Mission, the Philippine Youth Orchestra for Philippine Youth or something like that. Yeah, I was there before because I was helping some children, and then I was with them. I just want to visit and have a look, and I find all this project is so meaningful because it's not only reaching to normal children and also to the underprivileged. So I think they also have a chance to learn, whether they're going to be professional or whether they're going to be better, but they're going to be non-professional, it's okay. But at least this music will be impart in them. And to me, music is part of my life. So I think it's one of the most, it's a blessing. I mean, I cannot ask for more.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
music is indeed about life. And like El Sistema, like right off my head, actually, I can think of some other projects like that, like Harlem Boys Choir in New York City. When it first started, is actually to basically gentrify that area. You know, a lot of kids, African American kids, particularly, I think they only take African American kids. And that is actually quite meaningful.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them actually, it's not just a choir, it's almost like, you know, it's a school, if I'm not mistaken, up to the secondary level. And a lot of them actually basically got that opportunity actually for a decent education, actually because of this. And quite many famous either jazz singer or musicians or even opera, you know, even famous opera singers came from that.
Yep.
And as you were mentioning, actually, El Sistema, I actually had a friend who eventually, Venezuelan friend, who eventually immigrated to US as well, started from that underprivileged as well, started from that orchestra. And guess where he ended up? He got a doctorate in composition from Juilliard eventually.
Amazing.
And is actually teaching, you know, at a very high level, performing arts high school, like Interlochen,
Yeah.
right now as well. So I think we cannot separate music from life or life from music as well. I often, and I'm sure Chong Lim would agree as well.
Yeah, of course.
I tell my students actually, you know, the musicians didn't write music about music. It's like we need we need materials actually for the music to be, in order to, for the music to speak. You know, otherwise it's just plain meaningless notes. Yeah. So this is actually not from what I prepared, Chong Lim. I just came to me. You're a very stylish musician, and working with Chong Lim is always a very humbling experience. I mean it wholeheartedly. I always learn a lot more, not just about music actually, but about myself as well. So in terms of style, how does one cultivate the sense of style?
Style of?
Yeah, musical style, actually, you know, in terms of why are you able to feel, you know, or shape your music this way? Why is your tone like that? That's just different from other people?
I think it's all what you hear, what you experience, what you use, and your experience means like 3 years that what you feel, what you see, what you inspire, what you you know, like what you get from, you know, not just, it's like you say, life, like you know, whom you meet and things like that. And style, also your concept about doing certain things, like example, like some people take more risks. Like I am someone who's quite rebellious in a way, but hopefully it's not a bad way. But I choose to take risk to do things. Means like if this is too comfortable for me, means like I will try to find something to trigger myself, some challenge. I get bored very easily. I'm terrible, actually. I'm a very impatient person. So this is one of the things that just share that Maybe it's a character, maybe it's something that, but those things that it changes, I always look for differences. Differences means like, I don't think I can play one piece the same again and again. I don't even remember how I play, example, like a piece that, like a Beethoven Sonata 20 years ago when I was a student, and now. I hope, not talking about improving, I hope I'm changing. I'm changing because imagine if I think back, I play exactly the same as I'm 20 years old, I think I will be very mad with myself. This is an example.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the challenges that a musician, either as a performer or as a teacher, would face in the local industry?
I say a little bit about the performance opportunity here. It's not as much here, but we still can get some. But as a teacher, I have a lot of challenge. I mean, as working with students or teaching, the challenges. Basically, now I feel that everything's in a rush. Everyone is impatient. Everyone has to want to be. If you know the Mandarin word, like 一步登天, like I just want to like, okay, I want to be good now. Okay, make sure you do this result. But learning music is not like that. It's a long, long process. It's not. We don't get example. You play that so well, like a control or certain thing or certain touch. It require years of work and of experience. Also practicing. It's require a lot of. But these days, because with the technology, everyone start to feel, again, technology, not about TV, but it's about, phone. Yeah. Or
again, technology.
Yeah.
Take note of that.
I'm not saying that technology is bad. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that learning music and art, it requires years of hard work. And so I don't think it's harder now to do with students because they have no time. They want to learn everything. Sometimes I ask students, like, how many hours you practice for my piano? Or I can't do much because I have swimming lesson, then I have tuition, I have blah, 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 blah. I have tennis, I have whatever. Or violin, cello, they learn 10 instruments, I don't know. Not 10 instruments, maybe 5, I'm exaggerating. Yeah. But they just occupy their time, but they don't practice for each instrument properly. So I just find that's ridiculous, totally ridiculous. I cannot, because I love tennis myself, I don't play, but I cannot imagine like the top tennis player like Federer or Nadal or Djokovic, they are also a footballer. They can play football for fun, but they're not going to be professional to be swimmer, golfer, or whatever, So I always say that to my students, that you can learn one as a sub, but don't do too much because everything, when you grow up, everything needs to be specialized, then you can achieve something a bit more specialized. So that's my suggestion, but it depends on because we only have 24 hours, we don't have 48 hours a day, So how much can we do? So choose wisely what you want to do in your life and for your career, for your major instruments. And then spend your time, and we need to rest too. Nowadays, the children, you ask them about anything about, do you read a book or what is your favorite movie or whatever, they say, I don't watch, or I don't know, I don't read so much, I read textbook or something like that. Not all, I'm just generalized, but in general, I find people are just too busy.
Right.
They don't have time to have room to think or fantasize more, like I daydream a lot as I was younger. So I have plenty of time. I don't have tuition. I don't have a pushy parents. I just do whatever I want. So if I love something, I will do it more. So I don't need someone to tell me too much what to do. So I find it a bit different these days because too much, I don't know, it's too busy. Everyone's too busy.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess the current society right now is a very instant society, and it's getting more and more visual, if anything. And music requires so much hearing. I think I often tell my students, you cannot rush beauty. It sounds cheesy, but think about that. You can't rush beauty. Okay? It's actually very funny, actually. Where I learned this term from, actually, I think it was my friend back in US,
Yeah.
and the whole family is going out, and the father is rushing him, and he's still in the bathroom. Alex, come on, we gotta go.
Yeah.
And his response is, Dad, you can't rush beauty. And I actually picked that up. I said, that's actually very applicable when it comes to the cultivation of art and music, isn't it? How do we rush through listening?
Yeah.
Impossible. We need to take time. And a lot of times, actually, the students, kids here are so occupied.
Yeah.
The whole day is so occupied. When you're occupied with so many different tasks, it sort of takes away the certain ability, the self-starting quality of someone, actually. If they really like this, yeah, sure, I like music, but I have to do so many different things, actually. It becomes like, okay, I'm just going to fulfill the task instead of really pursuing something in a deeper sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So from what Chong Ling has said, what I gather is to make wise choices. We need to choose, right, in life, and which means actually we need to take time to really let things sink in and really let things simmer to finally decide what we really want. I feel like this society, making music is not like cooking to me. I'm not such a good cook. But I feel like a lot of times our approach right here is that it's not flavorful enough. Add more spice, add more spice, add this spice, add that spice, add until it's flavorful enough. Sometimes that's not exactly the answer. I feel like the answer sometimes is you have to just put the lid and let it cook for a while. And then it will be the stew that we want to be. Getting hungry. It's lunchtime right now. Yeah, but I think so. I really agree with we need to pick and choose and take time and not rush and all of these. Take time to experience. If we rush through things, then we're basically just getting a summary of one particular thing instead of the full experience. Yeah. So thank you for pointing that out.
No.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you, Chong Lim, you are a well-established performer, but you also produce some very good result actually in your studios actually.
No.
So, how do you compare your role as a performer and a teacher, particularly at this post-pandemic world? I guess that's a two-part question, actually. So, maybe the first part is like,
actually, my role, it's so people know me mostly as actually in Malaysia as a teacher, and also as a pianist, and actually composition, like what I was sharing that day, the first workshop, and actually also that's my first dream. But as I said, I have to choose. So I choose actually composition now is like if I get a commission or whatever, it's more like a hobby because I can't do everything. As I say, I only have 24 hours. So I remember when I have deadlines for composition, like even if someone commissioned, not often, like, but I will just take away my performance because I need to focus. I cannot do everything at one go. But teaching is something that I always sharing with students. I find it's one of the most important part of. I was different when I was younger. I said, "Oh, teaching is so hard. It's so hard to explain, so hard to make someone good." But now, the older I get, I find that teaching is one of the most important. Important job to share to with the young generation, hopefully inspire them, hopefully to bring them up to what they want, who help them to choose the path that they want to go forward more. But I don't say that I have a lot of successful story. I mean, like students. I mean, I'm very proud of them. all of them. Not all are musicians, for sure. Not all of them are I think maybe just 50% of my students, half of them are musicians.
That's actually a high success rate.
Really? Okay. But even some of my, okay, I won't talk about musician students that I have now, but I talk about the students who...
As in pursuing as a career.
Pursuing music,
right?
career, yep. And some of them are not, they end up like engineer or doctor. I still get a call from them. Oh, teacher, I just went to this concert. I enjoyed the Rachmaninoff playing, not Rachmaninoff concerto by this Russian Lugansky playing. There's still music in them. So I'm very proud because they say, oh, now I have free time. Maybe I should learn about Chopin Ballade. I say, wow, okay, you have time as a doctor? I said, you know, so something like that, you know. But I'm very proud of them because to me, it's not like I have students who ask me a question. Ask me opinion. They came to my class when they're 17, 18, like younger than you are. They can't decide whether to choose music or other field. They were crying. They said, oh no, teacher, did I disappoint you if I choose other things? I said, no. I said, to me, it's your life. I support whatever you do. Because you choose, you know what is the best for yourself. We can't choose for you. I can only support. And to me, it's more like they're growing up with me maybe more than 7 to 8 years or maybe 10 years. I say, I want the best for you. I want you to be happy. That's the word I say. Not say, you have to be a musician because you are my student. No. Never, 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 never. I'll never do that. So to me, this is what I felt like, what we want from, you know, we want to be happy to do the things that we want to and we are happy with. Sometimes it's harder when the students, like most of you are very talented, I'm sure, good with music and academic, you can't decide. So that's the options. I'm lucky enough I don't have options. I prefer music. So
even me, actually, when I was graduating from high school after UEC, I still remember my mom saying, your result is not bad. You sure you want to do music? I was like, what? I'm sure I'm not the only one that's heard this kind of comment, right?
Yeah.
You know, can't blame our parents as well, as they didn't have the awareness of the right exposure as well, and they're only saying that because they're concerned with our future.
That's right.
So, and I think actually just tagging along what Chong Lim's comment as well. If you're a musician, you're a musician. No matter what you choose to do in life, you choose to be a doctor, you choose to be something else, actually. You contribute to the society in a different ways, but nobody can take away your identity as a musician. If you are, you are. No matter what you do to earn money in life. That I think. I have one question, actually. I know, Chong Lim, so we know that as much as we love our country, right? It's not really the ideal environment to cultivate, you know, and, you know, a musician compared to, like, say, you say Austria, you know, you'll be very different. When you walk out, you literally see, you know, buildings from the Baroque era, right? What are some of the ways that you help your students to sort of simulate this kind of same environment?
I tried, but I mean, actually, don't misunderstand that I talk a little bit serious just now about, you know, young generation. Or it's not about it's not about negative. It's just talk about some points that I felt, you know, we need to be improved. Yep. So it's like an issue there. But generally, why I'm here, because actually I think most of them, you know that I love Malaysia, you know, everything, and then I'm a really, really typical Malaysian, you know, everything. So what I want to say is, how do I help my students actually? I just try to, you know, inspire them, like, or festivals, or let them, you know, take them out to see the world a bit more if I can, and then let them, you know. Nowadays that there are a lot of activities online, but I felt that the physical, like, to be somewhere, like to meet some other teachers, or to have master classes, or just visit places, you know, like I think it helps them to have an open mind to see what's out there, because sometimes we are too comfortable here that we are happy with this level of music making. Like sometimes I ask students, how did you do in your exam? Very good. So wow, I say, wow, so confident, because I never say that after a performance, because I always say, oh, this is not good, that's not good, you know, like we are very critical, but not in a bad way, but critical means like we can be better all the time, but because they might not, because to them maybe they haven't seen the outside world, the really high level, the international level. So I felt this is good for them to, you know, eye-opener if they have a chance to, you know, to be there, you know, in the festival or in the some sort of like a, you know, like music festival and all these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So the students at least would know what they're up against. No, not up against. That's a bad word, actually.
Yeah.
At least they know what the international benchmark is.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to put it.
Yeah,
you know, because we're
yeah.
not really, we're not trying to cultivate a culture that, you know, I'm against something.
Yeah, not against.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I have one last question for you right here. How important do you think piano competitions are? Either at a national or international level?
These questions is very. Actually, I'm not a big fan of competition. I'm never, but strange enough, I judge a lot of competitions. So it's so contradicting because I don't know. It just, I always let my students join competition is because I think that's a goal for them. And I seldom say push them, I let them choose. I say, do you want to do it? Or I think it's time for you to do it because you need some push. Or like online competition, I don't like so much because you don't see people, you don't meet the jury, you don't meet the contestant. But the physical one is very different. I'm not saying that everyone has to join competition, but the competition, because you meet people like from all over the world, or you get comments from the international juries, which is very valuable, like criticism or whether it's good comments or bad, you learn something. But now with online, unless like we can talk about pandemic now. Sometimes students sit down there for more than 20 months, just learning some pieces. Sometimes you didn't know that they are getting lower, the enthusiasm, because they get a bit burnt out and they get a bit bored at home. So maybe there's activities, sometimes activities help us a lot. Personally, I find competition, it should treat it as more like a learning process. Of course, you have to prepare well. Not just say, okay, never mind, I want to go and learn something, but I'm not prepared, So to me, it's always about learning process, and don't take it so seriously. And I can just share example, like some of the greatest legends that never win first prize. And then some of them win first prize in the competition, some of them not. But I say there are many of them not, and they are really outstanding. So competition is very hard for music because it's so subjective, and it's also very heartbreaking to a lot of students who say, I try so hard. And I always joke with my students, I say, are you the only one who's trying hard? If you don't win, you're not the one. Many people, 100 people go into competition, at least 90 of them are trying very hard. Only one winner, one winner, or maybe 1, 2, 3, 3 winners. Yeah? So this is something that we have to learn, that not just you are trying hard, everyone's trying hard, but so you have to take it in a positive way. If you have a positive attitude towards competition, it's good because you say, okay, I learned that repertoire, I improve, I meet many friends, I learn from the people, and the bonus, okay, I get the prize. Yeah. But if you don't get the prize, doesn't matter. Because
that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah,
the prize is the bonus.
Yeah.
Yes, if you put, enough effort, just the right effort.
Because we already
right
have enough competitive. It's so competitive, this world now, these days. Like you put more pressure into things that you love. Okay, I take example. How can you judge someone who plays Mozart very well and play Prokofiev very well? Both require different skills. And then this judgment, then you say, okay, because personally I like Mozart more, or the judges might think, Prokofiev is much, much more virtuosic and she can show more technical ability. So it's totally different. Or some people prefer more cultural music like Mozart. So how do you judge if both play very well? It's very difficult. So it's so subjective. Doesn't mean that the one who plays Prokofiev is better. So now it's the composer competition, like Prokofiev beats Mozart.
Yeah, I also, and I guess there are also certain
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
They're very individual.
Yeah.
They're not meant for competitions.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I can right off my head, I can think about in the classical vocal genre, like Maria Callas, someone who one of the most influential, important opera singers of the 20th century. I would say that if you go for a competition, chances are she's not going to get the top prize. Yeah, because it's so individual,
yeah.
and the tone is something that again takes time to get used to as well, and not as instant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't against it, but it's for sure that I'm not like very But I think when there's good and bad for everything, we like any even competition or any learning situation or whatever. But we just have to choose what's suitable. Some people need, like some students told me that they need something to push them, so they need to have more activities. Some are just, they are independent enough, like they love music enough that they can still keep that spirit during this pandemic time. So, so to me, it's again individual. Like you said, everyone's individual. So, but I personally very seldom to say that, oh, please join this, you have to do it. No, I just say, I suggest. When I see that they're a bit low energy in learning, I suggest. Sometimes I don't even, sometimes they will ask me themselves. Yeah.
Right. And this is, of course, subjective as well. If I were to ask you for a strong student of yours, just on your own opinion, actually, I'm not trying to purpose set a trap for Chong Lim, please. I was like, how many competitions actually would you say is enough for a year? If the student is strong, like I said.
1 or 2, maximum 2.
Okay.
Yeah, maximum. I mean, actually 1 already to me is a lot, because I wanted to learn. To me, it's more about learning the foundation, because mostly the young children should learn more first. Because prepare for competition, you might just spend for 2-3 pieces for like 6 months or 9 months. So to me, learning is more important, for especially young age, to build up a good foundation, to have a lot of understanding about the repertoire, the growth, and the technical everything, musical thing, the styles. And I feel that is important, that not just jumping from one competition, 1 year, 10 competition and play the same repertoire. It's just like, that is not very healthy, not healthy at all.
Yeah, understood. And I would definitely agree with that as well. But again, it's very individual, and it really depends on your ability and your intention as well. Yeah. I think the intention when someone takes part in the competition, I think the intention has to be right. Yep. Yeah, I think. That's right. So we still have some time actually for Q&A sessions. So if I will open it up to the floor. If anyone has a question, feel free to use the mic over there. And if any of you would like to pick Chong Lim's brain, now is the chance.
No questions.
Really? No questions at all? What? I didn't. I'm not putting him on the spot. He was pointing at himself.
Yeah. You have any questions?
Of course. Count on quad.
Just a question here. Any advice to all the students here? Because to be honest, still feel like UCSI as a place, we don't have enough of these like artistry things here. Like, I don't know, the student just doesn't feel like they are really flourishing, really like excelling as they should be when they are in this environment. Like, can you sort of like tell me, like give us some advice on like building a community? Like how and what's the mentality and what should you be thinking when you are in the university? So like based on your own experience, because I do think all of us here really need that mindset right now. Yeah.
I think to me, student life, right, is one of the most precious learning, time that, I mean, to me personally, as a student, because when I was student, I miss those times because of to share music, talk about music, and we play music together, like even in a bad way, means I said before, like, bad way means like sight reading through lots of pieces that which we laugh our head off, And then also we have built this strong connection with friendship during that time. I always tell, when we talk with friends, with colleagues or friends or students, I just say that, music world is so small. We should support each other. We shouldn't be always against and talk bad, gossip or whatever, I don't know. There's a lot of all these things happening, I know, in this music industry. But what I want to say, like, you talk about the environment in the university, to me, you all should be taking time to plan things happen, like, small little concert or a jam session together, or share music, talk, and then, okay, you can even do outside, not even in campus, like, you get a group of students, example, like, I share with you one story, I think, about when I was a student in Austria during Christmas time. Everyone goes back for Christmas holiday. And I'm Malaysian, I can't fly back, it's too expensive. So I will be alone there. Then someone just called me, do you want to play Christmas songs? Because there's a kind of keyboard there for these children, cancer patient children in the hospital, because these children cannot go back home, because they were always living in the hospital with leukemia or what sort of other. There are about 12 children. So I said, of course. I said, I'm free. So, I dress up like, as I said, Santa Claus, and I go there and play the keyboard. And I can't sing, so lucky I didn't sing. I think they will faint. So I just play. So this is something that you can organize yourself. If you have connection or you have someone. So these are all activities that you build up something that that music can serve other things. So I started from when I was a student in Austria, and whatever chance we have, we actually enjoy a lot. So the enjoy is not so much about has to be perfectionist, when we play everything. So, but yes, when we have the exam, we have all this situation, like concerts, we prepare the best. As I say, we have to be serious about. That's our professionalism. But there are times that we should enjoy music, because music. Look at last time, how do people enjoy music? It's like in a home, they play some music and they come, like singers come, sing string quartet or string players, they will come and just play a few pieces like Schubert time or whatever. It's not like everything has to be like, Carnegie Hall, something like that. Something like that. It's true. Not like that. So music making can be anywhere. An outreach program, if you are, I think most of you, some of you are teachers already, teach you young children, maybe you can also organize things together to do something meaningful.
Yeah, so which means that you said that try to use your music capability to like do something that's meaningful so that you actually get something out of it, right?
Yeah, and also you're practicing your voice. I mean, I know you're your voice major.
Okay,
you're practicing your instruments, and at the same time you're sharing with, and it's so much joy. Music should be joyful. Should enjoy. Yeah.
Definitely.
And then enjoy your So.
Yeah, to really summary, actually the mentality should be one that builds each other up instead of tearing each other down. And also, don't just make music to fulfill course requirements.
Yes.
Yeah, you know. Guys.
Okay, I know quite you don't actually. You can always hear him sing actually everywhere.
Yeah, I'm like the phantom in the block C. Okay, anyway, thanks.
Oh, thank you for the questions. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Our rare gem of Imus, our only classical percussionist.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, so if you want to graduate playing a triangle, then I'm probably the closest you can get. All right, first of all, thank you, Kwok, for giving me the chance. I have two questions, one short one and the other one a bit longer and more serious one, if you don't mind. As a composer, because I also want to do as a, percussion / composer thing. In your process, was it basically a series of inspirations that happened and all built up to this piece, or was it a sudden eureka moment when you write your composition? Which process was it, and how did you you hear something in your head that sounded really good? Like, for example, I still cannot fathom how did you write Xiang. It is still by Xiang. It is still by far my favorite from your works, because I did hear it quite some time ago. So what was the process that got you to write it? Was it a series of inspirations that lead to this very moment, or was it a sudden light bulb moment?
When I write, it's every time it's different. It's not always like, like as you say, we have to. I mean, I'm not talking about all composers, but for myself, as myself, it's always different. I don't have a pattern because I'm not a person who likes systems so much. I'm just very based on very intuitive, intuition, and so when you talk about Xiang, it's actually something very personal to me because it's my late father, and when I have a chance, as I said before, when I have a chance to, my first orchestra work was, I have a chance to write for orchestra. So the first thing come to my mind immediately, I want to write a piece for him. So, and go through my own feeling after so many years, he passed away, and also my religion as a Buddhist, I look at death a bit different. So it's all sorts of kind of things, inspiration, as I say, it comes. It's not a theme. I don't have a theme, but I have a sound that what I want to, and then I have an image of roughly, kind of a combination of things that I want to develop. So it comes to me when I'm thinking about it. And I remember I wrote that, as I said before, and then I cancel a lot of, I don't play for 6 months, actually perform, because I want to get quiet mind. So I'm not those type can just sit down and work, wake up, I said 7 to 9, let's practice how to write. The next day, again, continue. I have friends who can do that. I really admire that. I don't have the kind of maybe talent or skills to do that, but I need something to trigger me, either feeling or a sound or an image or something. So I can't tell exactly what piece or how it starts, how I will do it. As I said, I don't have the system, so I don't have a plan. But when I want to write something, it comes either in different form of inspiration. Yeah.
So the second one, now because this is my biggest concern as a Malaysian musician, more specifically a percussionist in Malaysia. Everyone has asked the question, where can we go from here, right? And you probably heard the same question over and over again and everything, but I'm going to ask something very different. To give background on what I had to go through as a percussionist, internationally there's just something called the Percussive Arts Society, the PAS, not the other PAS. The Percussive Arts Society is basically a huge circle of percussionists around the world. We gather together and share dissertations and theses, journal articles, pieces, performances, method books, everything. And I was about to be one of the pioneer batches to represent Malaysia. But because of how Malaysia views worker unions, it did not happen. We had to put in on indefinite hold.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear the
Oh,
last. What happened? Why is on hold?
Because of I was part of the pioneer batch to represent Malaysia in the thing, and it was big. There were only 10 of us. However, because of how Malaysia viewed worker unions,
I see. Okay.
it did not happen. We were put on indefinite hold.
Okay.
And it was heartbreaking, but it wasn't surprising either. And then, of course, everyone has heard the recent news, how people in Malaysian music, they studied how Mak Yong was banned and sanitized for over 40, 50 years at this point, where even governors at the generation where it finally performed for the first time had no idea this was in their state, even though it began there. There was also ones where teacher teaching Indian dance and was not allowed to speak in the university. There's also the scuffle that happened last year, the MPO and MPYO, that almost spelled the end of the ensembles. And I knew, because I was an MPYO member, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And in this university, many of us were lost. Where are we going from here? Especially orchestral musicians, we do not know. But I hear many encouragement to believe that this is not the end, or the beginning of the end, as what KJ stated, is the end of the beginning. And we are going into this new area, which I'm dead set, no matter what's going to happen, I'm coming back here to fix everything, even after seeing percussionists 5 strokes away from carpal tunnel syndrome. And I really want to come back to that. But the question I want to ask you, because we share the same ideals for a better industry, what do you feel when you see the changes, especially young people advocating for a new future? Was it, wow, this is surprising, or it's about damn time something happened? Which one was it? Did it take you by surprise, or did you know this is a long way coming?
You mean the change?
Yeah,
Yes.
the young people starting to do things.
I think both. Yeah. Because I think we all have to adapt, right, to whatever. I mean, I'm sorry about the bad news and all these things happen, the heartbreaking thing. But sometimes in our this profession, we never know what will happen. I mean, there's ups and downs. We all know. But what I want to say that we have to adapt to new changes, and these challenges will help us maybe to create new things. I don't know how. I mean, will trigger something that you want to do a different way, or maybe more successful way. I don't know. But that's always I felt there is always, from something that a bad experience, right? Sometimes we might open up another something new that you can achieve, or maybe even better. I don't know, but there's no guarantee, of course, because we don't see it yet. But I think this is how I feel that it also in my experience, I also have many things shut down before. When I was thinking like that's I almost achieved something, and when at your age, or even older, and suddenly just shut down and was actually very heartbreaking as well. But I felt, but I still move on. It doesn't. I don't think that will stop your passion. I think, right?
It's not.
No, it won't stop you. I think it will. I'm sure you'll find your way. Not because you're young, and I feel that there are always chances. We always have to be optimistic. With some things bad happen, that there's something will come, maybe, but not maybe, but we always believe that you will. we will move on. And this is what I can say.
Yeah, I guess it's a famous quote, I guess. Is it Jurassic Park? Life finds a way. So I believe that music finds a way as well, as long as we keep doing it. As I mentioned, I do believe this is actually necessity, not it's ingrained in us, our heartbeats and everything, our pulses. This is rhythm. Actually, it's in us. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. And when I guess you see right now, people are actually more prone to wow, so excited going to concert because why? Because they're being deprived for quite a while.
And this pandemic affected all of us actually, like, I mean, I have to say that this is my first project since last year. And actually, I'm very excited. At the same time, I'm also feel very awkward because I haven't been on stage for so long and then I haven't been sharing with students. And I think a lot of things like, we don't know how it will end. And actually, I want to say also like, just a bit, a bit lighter, as like almost like a joke. We don't know how long we're going to wear this, but it doesn't mean that we have to be, how to say, to think negative. We just try to move on. We try to find a way to adapt. And I think, musicians are always, we are innovative, creative, or we will find a way to make things happen. But maybe it needs time, it needs some patience, and you need to find out what you can do. Maybe there's a chance that's an opportunity there to make you different or make somebody different. Maybe, I don't know. But
there are always opportunities amidst crisis.
Yeah.
I do believe that. Yes, and I agree. That.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
No. Thanks for the questions. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello. So, in terms of, let's say, in both practicing and performance, how would you say, how important is your mindset, and how do you have a specific mindset in approaching these two fields?
So, sorry, at the end, what is it?
Basically, what form of, what mindset do you have when practicing, and what mindset do you have when performing, and how different is it between those two?
Oh, it's totally different. Yeah. Practicing is something that I also said before, last week, yep. Practicing is something that you have to be so critical, like, you're like almost like a monster to yourself, like everything no. Like I heard one of my favorite conductor, who passed away in many years ago, but he's one of my favorite conductors, Chulabadache, and he said, in rehearsal is 1,000 no's, N-O-S-S-S-S-S. That means a lot of no's, like you keep saying no, everything. So that means you are very, very particular. But on stage, you be realistic. You perform, like I work enough, I enjoy, and let it go. But still with very, very clear, not say let go, like until you go wild. Sometimes you go crazy, but on stage because you get nervous. But on stage, I think most importantly, we have to enjoy and let all the hard work become free music making. So that is very hard because most of the time it's the other way around. I notice my students, when they practice at home by themselves, they will be like enjoying, oh, I'm so cool, Then suddenly they didn't hear the details, they didn't work on things, yeah. But when they perform, and they say, oh, I can't do this. I said, that's too late. So I think very different. But sometimes we also have to know where's the balance between too harsh when you are practicing, because sometimes we put ourselves too down, it become a bit on the negative side, which is not good. But I think being serious, being very, very critical, in a good way, is very important. Like when I practice very slowly, and I torture myself a lot. Yeah, so I don't like this, I don't like that, and but when I play, okay, things happen. That's it. I cannot do anything because it's already happened. So I try my best. Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
Okay, so besides just that, how would you say, how would you improve, and what advice would you tell somebody who's trying to improve their mentality on these subjects?
Sorry, mentality.
Mentality in these subjects.
In which subject?
Meaning, actually, what you just, the answer that you just gave,
Yeah.
actually, how does one build this kind of right mindset, this kind of right mentality?
How to build?
Yes, how to, when practicing 1,000 notes,
Yeah.
when performing,
Yeah.
just let it go.
Yeah.
Oh, it rhymes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how do we actually develop this kind of
Develop this
habit?
Habit. It's kind of like, it's kind of a practice, right? It's just, when you practice, you say, there's a kind of a guideline, a goal that says, okay, you practice, you work on every details, because they're so, I'm sure you're a pianist, right? Are you a pianist? Okay, yeah. So you work on all the details like very clearly, you know what your intentions, all the musical intention, and read carefully. So those things actually, you prepare so well, and you go on stage not, okay, maybe I say this in a funny way. You know, when we give a concert, right, it's not a lecture. People should enjoy. So if you go on stage, you keep thinking that I have to play this right. I have to make sure that I do this crescendo. Make sure I have to play this. Remember, this is the staccato. This is the legato. So that is not, you're already not feeling the music. You are just thinking about what to do. You see, but when on the performance itself, actually the live performance, right, the magical thing is, when you let go, right, you are at that moment to create something special. Not like, so that's why I always say performing on stage, very different than practicing. But sometimes we need to practice that at home, and so try to imagine that, what kind of situation, how do we feel? But at the point of performing, I always want to react to what will happen. It's like you tell a story, right? You start with, or you write a story. You start with the first word. You want to be fluid, continue. Not like, okay, I have this idea. Okay, I must make sure I have 7 words, and the next thing I put, you know, it's too much of thinking during performance. And then sometimes people ask me whether I think when I perform. Actually, I don't. I don't know what I'm thinking. Actually, I'm just listening and I'm enjoying the music. I'm not exactly like, I have to remember this, I remember that. Not really, I don't. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just strange. I don't know. This is, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I think we've already ran over time, actually. So students, actually, if you still have any kind of questions, you can actually feel free to send me a message on MS Team, and I'll convey it to Chong Lim, actually. And of course, I'm sure he would be more than happy to answer those questions as well. Once again, a big round of applause for Mr. Chong Lim.
Thank you for coming. Yeah.
And yes, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.